Can the Oklahoma Sooners make the playoffs? The Oklahoman might be a little bit more optimistic than your boy John here. We'll discuss coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks again for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on every podcast platform and on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button and that notification bell to let you know when new episodes drop. The Oklahoman came out with a way too early college football playoff projection over there. Matt Hayes, part of the USA Today Network, mentioned this. The Oklahoma Sooners coming in as the 9 seed, Jay. This is crazy. I want to be optimistic about this team, but let's just run it down. Penn State at number 1, Georgia, number 2, Clemson, number 3, Kansas State, number 4, Ohio State, 5, Texas, 6, LSU, 7, Oregon, 8. Oklahoma finishes in front of BYU, Illinois, and Boise State. Crazy.
Kind of fascinating choices here. Like, I get the LSU one. Clemson, I have questions, but they're bringing back some players, so I totally get that. Penn State still got 2 of the best running backs in the country in their backfield. They just don't throw the ball very much. Even with Andy Koltanecki, you would think they would throw the ball more, but adding Jim Knowles, which is probably a huge boost to their defense, even though defense wasn't their problem, may get them to where they need to be. That, like, they're bringing back probably one of the more experienced teams in the country. But seeing Oklahoma here, what intrigued me about it was the focus on John Mateer. And that's kind of been like the narrative for me that I've been preaching this entire time is we have a competent offense. You get probably 2 or 3 more wins. That gets you from 6 to about 8 or 9, maybe 10. That's all you needed. And then we'll break down and go through all the quarterbacks we're going to see this coming season, especially after the spring portal and spring game or whatnot, and all the injuries set in for everybody, because unfortunately that's inevitable. Knock on wood, we have as minimal as possible. But John Mateer is the focus here. Like, I get it. They're pointing this out. Now, the schedule's brutal, but we got more home games. We got, 3 road games this year? Thank goodness. We only got 3. We get the flip, because last year we had technically 3 home games with Red River, with us being the home team. We were our Crimson. Now we'll wear white, which I think the white team is undefeated. The white jerseys are undefeated in Red River of the last, 8 games or something like that. But I think probably less, but I digress. My point is, they're understanding the assignment. If Oklahoma has a competent offense, there's a very good chance that teams will struggle once again with this defense.
And here's what he had to say. He said, "What's good? John Mateer, the difference between an ugly first season in the SEC and a CFP run in 2025. The transfer quarterback from Washington State was the number 1 player in the transfer portal and is a dynamic dual threat. The Sooners couldn't get first downs in 2024. They'll score in bunches with Mateer and transfer wideout Isaiah Satania and high-volume championship subdivision transfer receivers Keontez Lewis and Giovanni Gibson." So, yeah, I mean, it comes down to the offense. If the offense is good, if it's even respectable, they'll be in playoff contention. If it's good, they'll be in SEC title contention.
Yep.
If it's good. If it's respectable. And as much as we want to put it all on the shoulders of John Mateer, to me, it comes down to what they get from the dudes up front. Because if John Mateer don't get no blocking, it doesn't matter if he's Patrick Mahomes, as we just saw in the Super Bowl. If they cannot protect him, it's going to be really, really rough. Now, Mateer runs better than Patrick Mahomes does, so that gives him a little bit of a plus there. At the same time, if you're expecting your quarterback to throw it 25 to 30 times, you still got to be able to protect it. And you got to be able to run the ball, and you got to be able to run block. And what has made him so effective in his ability is his ability to run the football too. So you've got to be able to figure out the things up front so that you can allow your highly touted, highly regarded transfer portal quarterback to shine.
Yeah, that's all you need, is making sure that you're doing a good job of blocking, in which, to be quite honest, the way that this offensive line is constructed, you're bringing back majority of your experienced guys. You're bringing back a lot of snaps. You need them to be healthy. And so, as you said, the questions you have on this team is really going to be, is the offensive line going to be healthy enough in order to protect John Mateer long enough for him to go out there and cook? Now, I do believe that. We're healthy with both the Jakes at your bookends, with Ozaida and Fabichi Wewu, or EPL, who's gotten some experience and has shown us that he's got a little nasty streak to him. Troy Everett's back in the middle. I think Branson Hickman is back too. I haven't seen anything saying that he was gone.
No, I'm back.
Right? There's no I'm back. There's no I'm gone. There's nothing.
Until it's Twitter official. So
that's a fair point. And I don't see him, but I mean, I think he has one more year left as a super senior. So you've actually got too deep of players with experience. You're not playing a whole bunch of freshmen this time around, which is basically my point. Wewu played the entire season. Ozaida was growing throughout the year. Logan Howland's gotten better. You bring in Derek Simmons, so you bring in a veteran. Then you still got your 2 bookend tackles of Isaiah Autry-Dent, Ryan Fogier, as well as Michael Fasusi. So you got 3 pretty high-end dudes that can step in and technically take other people's jobs if they really need to once they learn the system. So, look, you've got a good chance for this line to actually be at the level you were expecting. Well, our problem last year, we were dealing with a whole bunch of inexperience. They got a year of it. They got their butts kicked. So now they learned, all right, we need to turn up the intensity and train like the defense did in order to be able to be productive.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Derek Simmons piece, but Luke Buklenko is another veteran addition that they made. That you got 2 guys that could play offensive tackle, they could play guard. You've got a lot of intriguing options. It's just a matter of it coming together, the guys staying healthy, there being cohesion and continuity, and them being better. Like Heath Ozaida was good at times, Logan Howland was good. They were good at times, but they have to improve. Jake Taylor, Jacob Sexton, you can talk all the potential you want. We haven't seen them play a significant amount of snaps, and they have to be good. Derek Simmons, he has to make the jump from playing at Western Carolina to playing in the SEC. Luke Buklenko, same thing. He's got to make that jump from playing at Stanford to playing in the SEC. You got to see an improved Troy Everett. I mean, he was one of the more promising parts of your offensive line. He's got to continue to get better.
Yep.
Fabichi Wewu, he has to play at the level he was playing at the end of the season for the entire season, and he has to take a jump. Like, everybody's got to improve. You've got a lot of competition, a lot of competitive depth, but it's one of those situations where it's like, how good is the depth? How good are the guys that we expect to start? Because we don't know. And I think if I have any hang up about this team at all, that's where it's at. I think offensive line it'll be good. I know quarterback's going to be okay. I think wide receiver will be just fine. Running back's going to be okay. Tight end, it may or may not matter. It all hinges upon the offensive line. If the offensive line can return to respectability, it doesn't even have to be Joe Moore award-winning offensive line.
Nope.
It just needs to be the 2023 Oklahoma Sooners offensive line that was really good. It needs to be that good for Oklahoma to go and be an SEC title contender.
Being respectable, honestly, if they can get back to the level that they played against Alabama, in Missouri, that's good enough for everybody else in the SEC.
The signs are there. Like, there were signs that this could be a good unit. I just need to see that from week 1. I got to see that, especially week 2 when you host Michigan. Like, that's the game. There's no easing into this. This is not your, walking into the infinity pool or the zero entry pool, and you get to kind of ease your way in and kind of feel out the water a little bit. Just check to see if you're going to be able to tolerate the temperature. No, week 2, you got to be ready to go. You got to have your best 5 guys ready to play and ready to go knock some heads, because you're going to get tested and you're going to get challenged week 2.
The good thing is that 24 class was the class that everyone was really excited about.
Yeah.
For Bill Beatonbow. That was the one where you brought in 5 dudes and you felt like, all right, this is the foundation for the future. Well, we're now in year 2. You lost Eugene Brooks, who went back home. Kind of expected it, but now with Josh Isosa, Isaiah Autry-Dent, adding in, Daniel Akinkumi, and then EPL, those 4 dudes are now expected to be the ones to step up and be the game breakers, or at least be good rotational pieces. The red shirt's out the window now. If you're good enough to play, you're gonna play. So I truly believe that you'll see EPL and Weiwu rotate more. But also, speaking of Weiwu, he played the entire year. He had his ups and downs, but that was year 1 with Bill Beatonbow. Mm-hmm. Year 2, McKay Matara, to me, took a huge jump his second year here.
Yep. Same with Chris Murray.
Exactly. It's like
Wanye Morris. Yeah.
It takes a year under Bill Beatonbow to understand learning all the positions. And then year 2, people go out there and rock it. So, to me, my expectations is I better see Weiwu out here knocking heads, or he needs to be pulled and put EPL in the game.
Yeah. I think everything's up for grabs. I mean, again, Troy Everett is about the only dude right now I expect to start. I would expect Febechi Weiwu to kind of be a starter to start spring ball, but all bets are off. Like, everybody's got to go earn their job. And you've got the next, 7 months to go do that before week 1 of the college football season.
Yep.
Battle Royale. Time to throw all those big nasties in the ring together and see who emerges as the best 5. We're going to actually discuss offensive line play on our Thursday episode, where we're going to answer your mailbag questions. We've got some great questions. If you've got a question you'd like to see featured on a future mailbag episode, make sure you hit the comments or hit us up on social media at Locked On Sooners and just write mailbag at Locked On Sooners, and then write your question out. We'll make sure to highlight it on a future show. We've got some big recruiting updates to discuss, in particular about a 4-star quarterback, a wide receiver that might remind you of somebody, coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.